home. We are WNST, AM 1570, Taos of Baltimore. We are Baltimore Positive. I am in the epicenter of positivity. We are the weather's holding up. We're here at Lexington Market, the new Lexington Market. We're at Faidley Seafood, doing the Maryland Crab Cake Tour and a cup of Super Bowl because I'm a little tardy in this particular performance here. It was supposed to happen a month ago. I'm going to apologize to Meghan McCorkell here from Live Baltimore momentarily. It's all brought to you by our friends at the Maryland Lottery. I have the Magic 8 Ball, and I'm rubbing the Magic 8 Ball, and it says, will Meghan McCorkell still be employed by the Enoch Pratt Free Library when I reschedule the show? No, it will not. You were between gigs when I invited you last month.
I know. Life changes quick.
Everybody knows Meghan.
Hello, everybody.
Channel 13, WJZ on the scene. And then you were at the library like a good long time, right?
8 years. Can you believe it?
You'll always be media Meghan McCorkell to me.
I know. People always still recognize me from TV, which is lovely. So now I still get to do media, but I get to tell great stories. So
I'm dressed up today, and you thought I dressed up for you. I didn't let my hair out.
You could just lie to me and tell me that.
Well, I'm always looking to impress you.
There you go.
But tonight is the Addies. It's the advertising Grammys. I'm not up for any awards. I'm not even getting any money. I'm probably not even getting any business from MediaWorks or iHeartRadio, but I will be there, and I put my good threads on tonight.
Yeah.
I'm going to fix my hair when you leave.
See and be seen.
Yeah, a little Aquanet up there, and I'll be fixed up just like Kiss was back in the day.
There you go.
Live Baltimore.
Live Baltimore.
And I love to talk Enoch Pratt with you because my friends John Eisenberg and John Miller were there last night on my dad's birthday, doing a little Earl Weaver. I've had them both on the show the last couple of weeks. I know you do a lot of things with Aaron over there with No Picks. This transition for you, like, you're never going to stop talking about the library. You still read, but you didn't stop reading books.
No,
right?
Of course not. Listen, I will be a library stand forever, and I always was. So honestly, for me, the very first job I ever had, it wasn't like a job, but you know when you were a kid and you did like community service in your hometown.
You did Bookmobile?
I worked at my like local public library. I like shelved books and helped, and that was when I was a teenager. So the library is like in my blood to stay.
Were you a part of the fines system? I mean, I was always getting fined 10 cents a day.
I was pretty good at returning things on time, but I will say this: the Pratt Library does not have any fines, and still free. Enoch Pratt Free Library. Free is the middle name, yes. And so they don't have fines at all, and we still find that people return their books on time because they know that somebody else is waiting for them. So
there's a responsibility that comes along with education that we all have more of a holistic approach when we're educated.
Well, it's like the honor system, right? Like if you hold that book for long and then you start thinking about another person who has been waiting for it, I feel super guilty if I have an overdue book. I'll go up to the front desk when I used to work there, and I would just feel like they knew if my book was overdue. So yes, I try and get through them pretty quick.
Can I make an admission that I don't think I've ever made on the air here? Because my
for
dad's birthday, my dad got me into reading when I was a little boy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I've read at a really high level when I was a kid. Like in kindergarten, I could read the newspaper, like that kind of kid, right? So I loved books, and I liked going to the library, but the library wasn't walkable from where I lived at East Point Mall. Mm-hmm. We had, like, the North Point Library was a long way. I mean, too long to even, like, take our bikes. Maybe we get a little older. But the Enoch Pratt Library, that is now the Frank Zappa Library, is in Highlandtown. It used to be on Eastern Avenue, little known, like it was at one point. As a child, I went there looking for the book after I saw the movie, Summer of My German Soldier. It was a World War II female-written book about Georgia and a girl growing up there who fell in love with a German soldier who was brought here as a POW. Mm-hmm. So, it was a movie, and I went looking for that book. And I wanted to read the book. And back in the day, like 1978, I'm 10, 11, whatever, you had to, order it. I remember going to the library and meeting Miss Megan, who was and saying, can you get this book? Well, it's on loan from this library. So when you would get the book, you'd wait for it. It would come. It would have all these people's names in it, right?
In the
because
back
stamps
of the day.
In the back, right?
I did sort of love that, like spying who actually read the book before.
Exactly, made you feel smarter. Didn't it?
Know it's not like that anymore.
And then we had the Bookmobile in the neighborhood, but the ubiquitous nature of the Dewey Decimal System being in my phone now. I can just put in your name, my name, Live Baltimore, and learn things, which I'm going to do in a minute. I'm just always blown away by how much education is available and how poor our leadership has become.
Well, it's interesting. I mean, we always say librarians were the initial Google, and librarians are still the source that you know that are getting you the truth and the facts, and that's not all you would ever get from the internet if you don't know that already. And so, I mean, information literacy is something you can really learn at the library, and I think it's more needed than ever.
There is her library speech.
That's
She's
my
no longer.
library speech.
She'll always be with the library.
I will always be a fan of the library. I'll always speak all of the great things about the Enoch Pratt Free Library.
Well, one of the cool things of Baltimore Positive, not just having former reporters, reformed reporters who are actually serving the world.
I call it
here.
recovering.
We're recovering. I think we went through that the first time we got together about what you miss and what you don't.
Yeah.
Live Baltimore and Enoch Pratt. Obviously, good gig at Enoch Pratt. You're really good at it. You're out in front of it. I love that you were that person, and you are that person like that. Encourages people to read books.
Sure.
You make this career transition again, third one that I know about, at least in the beginning for you. I'm assuming as a little girl you grew up to be a journalist to make it to Channel 13, right? That was probably your real ambition, right?
I loved telling stories. And so I think in every career move that I've made, I've utilized that skill of telling stories. And still at Live Baltimore, I get to tell a lot of Baltimore's story now, and I think that that's a real honor for me as well.
All right, so what is Live Baltimore?
Sure.
I lived in Baltimore for 19 years. I lived at the top of Harbor Court. I remember sort of Live Baltimore being this bumper sticker.
Yes.
And I'm like,
I love city life.
I love city life. I love city life.
Yeah.
And I live in the county now, but I'm standing here in the city. I am Mr. City Guy. I would move back to the city in a heartbeat if we had trees and windows and like deer and fox and the things that we've been enjoying recently.
Well, there's lots of neighborhoods
that
have
love
those things.
the city. So Live Baltimore, I always thought of as being like sort of this Federal Hill thing. In my mind, it felt like a Federal Hill entity to me all the time I lived in Federal Hill.
That's
I know it's
funny.
wrong. Come back in the camera and tell me what's going on.
Sure. So Live Baltimore is a nonprofit organization. We've been at it for almost 30 years.
30 years. Okay.
30 years.
So it didn't come at it during my time. Okay.
No, it's been going on for 30 years, and that famous I Love City Life logo that everybody loves has been with us for many years.
Can I get a T-shirt with that on it?
Yeah, I'll get you one.
I like that.
That's the one thing. That's how I know the organization's popular, is because when I started 4 weeks ago, you're about like the 3,000th person who's asked for swag, because everybody loves the I Love City Life logo. So the mission of Live Baltimore is to attract and retain residents here in Baltimore City. So we are basically the cheerleaders of all of Baltimore's 278 neighborhoods. There's 250 neighborhoods that have houses in them. And so we are letting people know that there is something for everyone here in Baltimore, that it's a great city. And we want people to move in, live here, raise their families here in Baltimore City.
I'm trying to think of like the number one things that I miss. I'm thinking of going to New York next week. It's going to be 70 degrees. Just do a Ferris Bueller day. That's my thing. Because we're near the greatest city in the world, and we're 3 hours away, and I know you grew up closer than that.
I did.
And you're a little spoilt on it, because it's like being near Washington, D.C. Sort of like, oh, anybody comes to America, it's one of the first places they go. Here, we're like, it's like people in Buffalo going to Niagara Falls. They're like, I ain't doing that again. Baltimore, for me, in the city and walking around, I do miss it. I'm in here. I don't ever get in my car in town and think, I've got to go down to town today. I always think, what 5 things am I going to do when I'm down there? Am I going to run over to Michi's and grab some sauce? Am I going to go over to Cafe Dear Leone and do that? I'm going to go to Ovenbird. Do I have a friend I have to see? Does Kitty, by the way, City Pets is still Lovey Jill, it's still my girl. So, like, I have to get my cat food. And so I'm still enjoying lots of parts of city life, and I know I'm contributing to the tax base here. Hopefully I don't get a ticket, but but for people, there is this demarcation of, oh, you moved to the county. Oh, I see you don't like the city. I'm like, no, it wasn't even like that for me. I never really wanted to leave the city. For me, it was just like, have this land, moved it out. I'm going to move back to the city. I know I am.
Sure, yeah.
I know I am.
I mean, there's something about the city that draws you in. And honestly, for me, I've had the unique experience of living in a lot of different places. Being a journalist, I grew up in New Jersey. I lived in Ohio. I lived in D.C. I went to college in D.C. And so there is something about Baltimore that's special. It's the people. There's something about Baltimore that made me not want to leave. And I've talked to so many other people.
Well, you could have left. As a journalist, you had other places.
I was offered a job in New York.
Why did you make a home here?
Because I loved the people, and I really loved Baltimore. I fell in love with this city. I fell in love with all of the, I always say, if you can't find something to do in Baltimore on a weekend, you're just not looking hard enough, because we have the best festivals, the best outdoor experiences, obviously the best food. There's
so many great restaurants.
Are you going to be the mayor
one day? Can I ask
no,
you?
I have
no.
I can't stand politics.
I want you to be the mayor.
No. I said if I was the mayor, my only campaign promise would be to time traffic lights, and that's it. I just want the traffic lights.
I'm making an announcement here.
No, sir.
I'm making an announcement that next month I was going to run for the mayor of Baltimore like 4 or 5 years ago. That was my that's the reason I started Baltimore Positive, was to run for the mayor. Yeah. So like you don't have to. The fact that I moved to the county has nothing to do with anything other than the fact that like my place sold and my wife really wanted outdoor space. So like, and it just. We looked in all the counties. I got Howard County mad at me, Stewart's. Everybody's mad that I didn't move to their county, you know. But I love the city, and I'm here all the time.
Yeah.
For me, I've been all over the country. I don't know. For me, Baltimore is a place that I'm always amazed that people come from the outside and find its charm, right? Because I'm from here. I don't know from any other thing. And I see charms everywhere I go. Even in red states, I find charms sometimes, you know? But like here, the crabs, the crab cakes, the funny accent, all of that feels to be either inviting or sort of like, oh, I'm not one of them, or you were going to live here for 30 years and feel like you're not really a Baltimorean. I know all of these transplants, you being one of them, especially in media. The Garceaus that come from the Upper Peninsula. Viviano, who was supposed to be here today, his kid's got the flu, by the way. Mr. St. Louis and all that. Marty's from Louisville, makes a life. People that made a life here that are from other places. Even Peter Schmuck, my baseball buddy, came from Southern California. Like, what the hell are you doing here, you know? People like it here, and I can't see it the way you see it.
Well, yeah, because you grew up here, and so that is sort of what you know. What I would say is I think the people in Baltimore are different than almost any other city. People in Baltimore are very welcoming. In such an amazing way. I lived in D.C., and I've always thought, like, D.C. is the what can you do for me city, right? You move there, and what can you do for me? Here in Baltimore, people are like, well, I like you. So come on, like let's go do this. Let's go do this. Let's be friends. And I've had so many people. My mom will ask me. My mom's up in New Jersey, and she'll say, "Hey, so what does your friend blah 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 do?" And I go, I have no idea what they do. I just like them. Like we hang out. I don't know, because it's not really about that. It's just that people are so welcoming. They're welcoming you into their fold, and I felt welcome the second I came here. And now it's really exciting for me. I think when new people come in, to make them feel welcome as well.
It's funny you'd say that because Meghan McCorkell is here. She's with Live Baltimore, formerly of Enoch Pratt and WJZ. You know her smile and all of her Live Baltimore. So I lived at the Harbor 19 years, and when we would take the elevator down from where we lived, we would like be on Lee Street, walk around the corner. And obviously, I'm talking, we moved in 2003, right, because of the flood. Climate change, Loyola Symposiums next Thursday. We got flooded out with Isabel in 2003. You weren't here yet then,
I
right?
wasn't, no.
Yeah, okay. So we moved downtown, and I started taking the elevator down. And in the beginning, 2003, 4, 5, 6, very vibrant downtown, right? Very Orioles hangover, still kind of there. The Ravens had won the Super Bowl. Harbor East was kind of coming online. The Marriott wasn't there yet or whatever. But Harbor Place was still Phillips, and ESPN Zone was kind of just opening. And so I would walk down to the Harbor and see people from all over the world, right? Just being at the Harbor was like sort of being in New York or D.C. We're like, oh, they're from Taiwan. There's a bus. Oh, they look like they're speaking 5 different languages in 40 feet of pavement, like, right, when you would walk through. And I took it upon myself, and my wife would always call me, you should run for mayor. And then I talked about running for mayor. Now I'm going to run for the mayor of Rofo Fried Chicken. That's going to be my next campaign, is I want to be the mayor of fried chicken for Baltimore. But I would see people who would be a little confused. This is before Google, you could pop in, I want Italian food, and they would show you Little Italy's that way, right? These people a little more lost, a little more. And even before Baltimore had a reputation of being like, I don't want to go there alone or whatever, people would be out. And I would offer them something, and my wife, who's from New Hampshire, would say, yeah, you talk to a lot of strangers and this and that for being a public figure and like all that. I'm like, I don't know. I want them to like my place. I want them to like Baltimore.
But I also, like,
I want to be the guy they go home and say, this nice guy stopped on the street and told me to go over to Amici's and I'd like it, or whatever it would be. we're that place. That doesn't happen in New York.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't.
And I keep telling people, like, people say, like, oh, well, what are the steps? If you're thinking about moving to Baltimore, what would you do? And I'm like, well, first of all, livebaltimore.com gives you kind of a whole overview of all of the neighborhoods in Baltimore. But then the best thing you can do is come here and visit and go tour some of those neighborhoods, and then, like, stop by the local watering hole, sit down, because everybody in that neighborhood is going to brag to you about how great their neighborhood is. I always say everybody says their neighborhood is the best and they're all right. Right? Like, I'm in Brewers Hill, and I will.
I don't say that when I'm in Essex because I'm from Dundalk. Everybody knows that.
There you go.
Pizza John's on the 21st. I go eat their pizza. I mean, it's Essex.
But there's so much civic pride in the city of Baltimore.
Sure,
people are so excited to tell you where they're from. And, like, my neighborhood is this tiny little neighborhood next to Canton. But when people say we're in Canton, we're like, no, we are not. We are in Brewers Hill. And I love hearing.
You're in Brewers Hill, not Butchers Hill.
I'm in Brewers Hill.
See, when you said right next to Canton, I thought maybe Butchers Hill.
Nope, I'm in Brewers Hill, right under Mr. Bow. They just relit him with
you're
LED
walking
lights.
Distance there from so many. So if I ran into you under Mr. Bow, and you're a pretty girl from New Jersey, you're like, hey, you look like a nice guy. Where should I go? I'd be like, well, Chaucer's that way, and Enoch Pratt Library with the Zappa thing's that way. Yeah. And I'm telling you what, do you like chicken? Chicken Rico's down around the corner. And then there's Snake River over there. They got these weird sausages, and they got a great ramen joint and a great sushi joint right on Eastern. And that's why, if you want to go that way, Di Pasquale's is that way. And,
and there's so much community,
Baltimore.
too, because honestly, for me, I can name, like, all of my neighbors on my street. If a package shows up, someone's calling and saying, hey, there's a package. Yesterday in the wind, the flag outside my house blew down. One of my neighbors took it, rolled it up, tucked it in between my steps, sent me a text that it was there.
Military style.
But we all know each other. I mean, there's something really comforting about community like that because, I grew up in a pretty, in a town where, like, the houses were a little bit separated.
What town are you from? I'm going to Google your Jersey.
I am from Brielle, New Jersey.
Spelled B-R-I-E.
L-L-E, Brielle, New Jersey.
I know a girl named Brielle. It's a beautiful name. There you go. Brielle, New Jersey.
Brielle, New Jersey is where I'm from.
148 miles to Megan's parents' house.
Yes, exactly.
You're on a shore, girl. Man, Springsteen drove through Brielle, New Jersey a million times.
Springsteen lives a few. Well, I was so excited when Springsteen came to Camden Yards. I was there rocking out. I had a great time.
I spent one night in Seagirt. I've been to Belmar.
Yep.
I fell in love in Neptune once. Right up and down the shore. You're a shore girl.
Yeah, I'm a shore girl. But that is one of the reasons too that Baltimore appealed to me because being near
Jersey
the water.
Girl to you. I can do it.
Being near the water though makes me feel like home. So it's so nice from my house to be able to like walk around the Inner Harbor, walk around Fort McHenry. It feels like home to me because we're near water, and that's how I grew up.
Meghan McCorkell is spokesperson for all things Live Baltimore. She will always be a spokesperson for Enoch Pratt and recovering media members in the marketplace as well. So what is Live Baltimore from a, my wife's sister's in New Hampshire wants to move to Baltimore. You go to the website, but call you as a resource other than T-shirts. What is your role?
Yeah, we do a lot of, so I'm the executive director of Live Baltimore, but as an organization, we do so much to make home ownership accessible. So the one beautiful thing about Baltimore is that owning a home is accessible for so many people because the city is so affordable. So much more so than, when I lived in D.C., there was no way me as a single person could afford a house by myself.
There goes your whole paycheck.
Yeah, it's your whole, more than your whole paycheck. You'd be so, it was beautiful here when I was able to move here, buy my own house, affordable house in a unique neighborhood where there is such a community. So Live Baltimore will help you find what neighborhood is right for you. But then we also advertise homeowner incentives. So what that means is we will provide some down payment assistance for you under like certain circumstances.
Free cash. Yeah? Meghan McCorkell, give her a call.
Well, we work with the Department of Housing and Community Development on that. And so, but if you're a first-time home buyer, you could potentially qualify for some down payment assistance. When I was working for the city of Baltimore, I did qualify for the down payment assistance. Right now we have a brand new program that is really cool called Buy Back the Block. So if you live in one of the 120 plus neighborhoods that are qualified for the program and you want to buy a house in one of those neighborhoods, you can get up to $20,000 in down payment assistance if you qualify and you're eligible. So that's a program that we're running right now. We just hit the $500,000 mark. for grants given away as part of that program, because we want more people to live in our communities so that we have vibrant, strong, healthy communities across our city.
Well, that increases the tax base. It increases the amount of money being spent. When you live in the neighborhood, you spend in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
And the bartenders get tipped well.
Exactly.
Well, I think so.
I know. One of the other things we do, because I think it's really confusing, and it was confusing for me in navigating it, is we do webinars and we have videos that just walk you through home buying, like what that process is like.
If I had to do it again, I haven't bought a home in 22 years.
It's like you have to start over.
Well, I mean, holding the hand of a realtor, but like learning it before you begin. Before you call a realtor, learn about it. Right?
Yeah, and we do, 3 times a year, we do something called a trolley tour. So you get to come, and this year, May 3rd, we're doing it at Poly. So just sign up, and you'll show up, and we've got all vendors, they're lenders, real estate agents, and you can sort of like learn from them. We have workshops that show you like, what do you need to do before you buy a house? How do you make sure that your credit is okay for buying? What are the ins and outs of a home loan? And then we actually will put you on a bus and tour you through some of Baltimore's neighborhoods so that you can see what different types of houses are available at what different price points. We did this earlier in February, and almost 600 people showed up. And then the best part is, if you are ready to buy a house then and you wind up closing on a house, you can put in for a lottery to get down payment assistance from us, and 20 people who attended the trolley tour will get down payment assistance.
Oh, wow. So if you're serious,
if you're serious and you're ready to go, or even if you're, so many of the people that show up are people that are just starting, or they're people from across the country. This trolley tour, we had people from New York, from Michigan, from all these different states.
Free bus ride. You got to come down and get it,
well,
right?
How they want to, like, that's a great way to see so many different communities and do it with people who are really knowledgeable about Baltimore.
And you can ask questions, too.
Yeah, of course.
Well, I qualify for that. I could be like a greeter.
You could.
I've been in every neighborhood.
We have
in
a
this
lot
city.
of volunteers. We have some volunteers that are with us like every single trolley tour. They know more about Baltimore than I do. I'm only 4 weeks in, so
I almost want to take it to learn. Like, I would probably learn a lot.
So would I.
Riding around.
Well, just because, like, I never knew. We have so many neighborhoods, 278 neighborhoods in one city.
And every one of them is on the Oriole patch on that. Right?
Well, every
Isn't
one of them,
thing?
though, has their own unique flavor, their own unique thing. The houses, like, the one thing I love about Baltimore driving through is, like, you have an area that has row houses that look a certain way. You have like standalone houses. You have houses with yards. You have like parks. And so there's just so much to see. And there are so many neighborhoods that I'm excited about, because we get to go tour them as part of my job at Live Baltimore and see places maybe that you've never seen before, and talk to the neighbors who love their community so much and can tell you all of the amenities that are available.
Girl grew up in a Jersey Beach, and she came here in the big city of Baltimore. Meghan McCorkell's here. So my wife was from New Hampshire, and she was down here for like a convention for work when she was younger, and had that good late 90s experience of like the thing. She was here like 3 days just doing a work thing. And then, we fell in love, and I brought her here, and she was always smitten by the just all of it. The water, the architecture, the European look, the vibe, the streets, the diversity, the close to all it, just every part of that. And now she's like, since the plague, really into Patapsco Park, and really into Gunpowder, and really into Cromwell and Loch Raven, because she's into the outdoors and hiking and stuff. This area, every time I have like a Maryland person on, they're like, it's the best of the United States in microcosm. We have mountains, we have ocean, we have cities, we have crabs, we have all. For you, a couple points.
Sure.
Affordability, big. If you can't afford it, you can't live there, right? The fact that it's a city, the fact that the location of it with Baltimore, Washington, Philadelphia, airports, all that. What do you sell for the city beyond those things? Give me the other 5 or 6 things that you're out pimping on the headline thing to say this is why Baltimore.
Oh, I mean, I think Baltimore is so unique. Like we talked about, the architecture, the history in Baltimore. Go to Fort McHenry. It's such a landmark, and it's right there for us. We have amazing cultural institutions. I forget how many theaters we have. We have Everyman, Center Stage, Hippodrome, like so much arts and culture.
Art galleries.
A million art galleries. I mean, just the arts and culture scene alone in this city, I think, is top notch. And then the food, I mean,
we have become a foodie place.
We have become such a foodie place.
That's awesome.
Everyone's also like really opinionated about, like, I love asking people, what's the best restaurant in Baltimore?
No, I get that one.
Because we everyone fights about it.
Well, I'm at Faidley's.
Yes.
We're here at Lexington Market. You can't get any more iconic than this. And when I'm here, and you'll appreciate it, it's your first time in the new Faidley's, right?
In the new Faidley's,
It's been here 50 weeks. It'll be 52 weeks 2 weeks from now.
Amazing.
It's right before opening day. And it's a beautiful space, and it's all brand new. And Damie, who's going to come on later, loves to tell the story that, there have been a lot of videos shot in the old Faidley's, right?
Sure.
Like all the celebrity chefs have all been there and her mom and all that. And people see them, and like the Guy Fieri stuff runs and people see it. And they come in here and literally they walk in, they're like, it looks just like it does on TV.
Yeah.
And Damie doesn't have the heart to say,
it
was shot over there.
It was over there.
I mean, even the recreation of
done a
iconic
great job.
spaces.
Yes.
We've even taken Memorial Stadium and moved it to Camden Yards and
Yeah.
somehow improved it, right?
But look at the progress.
And that's what I think about Harbor Place. At some point, I hope to live long enough to look at whatever it becomes and say, I fell in the harbor the day it became Harbor Place in 1981, because I did as a little boy.
Well, you know what? I mean, all cities go through transitions, so it'll be interesting to see what the transition of downtown is. But even when I first moved here, I moved here 13 years ago, and to look at the amount of development that has gone on in just the 13 years in my neighborhood, all of Canton Crossing went in, Harbor Place, Harbor Point, all of those have gone in since then.
Thinking
the
out loud.
entire peninsula has gone in.
Peninsula. It's Port Covington.
I know. But
come on.
Lexington Market has gotten this amazing makeover. We're very happy in Brewers Hill.
CFG Arena.
Yes, CFG Arena. Oh my
Usher's
gosh.
been here. Come
Holy
on.
cow.
Bruce has been here.
I know.
Twice.
Yes. I went the second time. I missed the first time. I was in New Jersey the first time.
What are you doing tomorrow night? You should come down and see Hank Azaria do his Bruce thing.
Oh.
I had him on the show this week.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Do you know he's doing that?
I didn't know that.
So Hank Azaria, another fellow Jerseyan, I believe,
yeah, there
another
we
Jersey
go.
guy. His 60th birthday, he did a Springsteen for his friends.
Oh, because he's on a tour, yes.
He's a mimic, right? I mean, he does voices,
oh my
right?
gosh.
So he can do. He's been working on Springsteen, and he thought for his friends he would put a band together to throw a party. And he said he had so much fun that he wants to do it for charity.
So
now
fun.
he's just shaking his ass all over the country doing
I
this
love it.
Springsteen thing.
I was in Austin, Texas last weekend, and I saw his name up on the billboard. So I'm like, oh, I guess he is on tour.
I saw Springsteen in Austin. Now with Live Baltimore, you're like seeing some cities and stuff. My buddy Bill Cole from Cole Roofing, he's a part of a whole consortium of people that go to Richmond, go to Detroit, go to see incubators in other cities to try to make our city better.
Yeah.
All the city organizations, downtown park, all those folks look at other places. Austin's one of those places that the first sign you see is keep Austin weird, make Austin funky, Yeah. That's what we are. We got to embrace our funkitude here.
I mean, and I think part of it is keeping that too and making sure,
charm,
right?
Charm city.
You want to keep the charm, right? Because Austin has blown up. It went from 200,000 to 2 million, which
the people in Austin hate that it's de-Austinified now, right? They're like, they took over my town.
Yeah. I mean, and you notice that. And that's the one thing I love. I think Charm City, will retain that. But it's really important for us to be able to grow the tax base, get new people in here, and get people maybe that are renting or have rented their whole lives into home ownership. One of the
that's what Live Baltimore is. It's a home ownership plan.
And we also help renters find the apartments because we really want them to be a part of this, because also renting is sort of the first step to home ownership.
Sure.
I rented before I got here, but before I bought my house. But the one thing I love about Baltimore is just a city of opportunity. There are so many entrepreneurs in this city. There's so many ways to educate yourself, so many schools and partners and people that are willing to partner with you. There's we're right on the East Coast. We're a port city. I mean, there's so much going for Baltimore that I'm excited. I think we're in a real time of transition in Baltimore. I think we're going to look back at this time 10, 20 years from now and say, that was the start of something really great for our city.
So this is why she's not in media anymore, because she couldn't be this positive. Do you have any thoughts on media and on the way the president's being covered, the way politics is, but just all the degeneration of all, because my friend Chris is running the Towson Torch, which is a Towson newsletter, and his whole birth of it was I'm tired of seeing on Fox 45 that Towson's getting slogged. I think we can all say we're tired of Baltimore getting slogged.
Sure.
Just in a general sense, whether it's real crime, perceived crime, hit pieces in media, there's so many great things. I'm Baltimore Positives, the name of my brand, for crying out loud. I wanted to spotlight everything that didn't lead with crime and death and murder and bad, toxic things, because that was not my experience of living Baltimore. It's never been my experience of being a Baltimorean, but my experience, much like it's going to be when I go to Canada later this month to see the Orioles get booed off the field in Canada, is to defend the honor of my thing. Yeah. You know what I mean? Whether my thing's America, whether my thing's being a Democrat and believing in the things I believe in, Baltimore's one of those first line of defense, like, look, I can pick on Dundalk, but you better not pick on Dundalk.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And that's the way I feel about Baltimore.
Yeah. I mean, I think there are so many people in organizations that are doing amazing things for our city, and I'm so happy to be in an organization that is doing that. And it's like, you know, I wish that we could amplify those stories more. I wish more people knew about some of the amazing nonprofits that are making a difference in people's lives, these programs that, you hear about, but you don't necessarily hear about. Like I said, we hit the $500,000 mark, right, with our Buy Back the Block program, which is amazing. Yesterday, we actually increased the amount of some of the grants we were giving out from $10,000 to $15,000, and my staff was calling to let some of these home buyers know that we were increasing their amount.
And they feel like they won the lottery.
They were like crying. They were so happy.
Sure.
They were thanking us. We have a gentleman who's over 70 years old, and through this program is buying his very first home.
Oh.
And we have a mom and a son who are buying a home together.
Look at you telling good stories.
There's just beautiful stories.
This is why you can't work in media, because you just couldn't go out looking for cruddy stories, right?
You know,
did you get worn out on that?
Even when I was in media, I think I really tried to do my very best to look at some of the great things happening
here. Did you do the murder beat, or did you do the event
I did
beat?
a lot of the murder beat, yeah. I mean, I did a lot of that.
I remember you being a serious news person.
Sure.
I don't think you were the one always out at the fair, or or the day on the snow thing. That was more like Matt's.
But the stories that I remember most, I think the stories that people do remember most are the stories where people are really making a difference in this city. And I think that it's happening absolutely everywhere. And right now, I think we're in a really unique point in time where a lot of those organizations, smaller organizations that were making a difference, are all kind of coming together. And I think it's going to change the face of what we're doing here.
I love that. See, you got me off to a good start. I tried to buy you a crab cake, and you wouldn't. Jersey girl won't take a crab cake.
I know. I'm stuffed already.
Meghan McCorkell is one of my all-time favorites. You can find her out at Live Baltimore as my computer gets unplugged. So it's probably a good idea to plug the computer back in. You know, I notice it when it gets to 24%.
Yeah.
You can find her at Live Baltimore. You can probably still find. Do you still go? You still have your library card.
Of course, I have my library card. I'll always have my library card. But you can visit me at livebaltimore.com. Come stop by we're on Charles Street, so we're happy to help anyone who wants to learn more about Baltimore City and come and join us. We're like Baltimore City's biggest cheerleaders.
The cruise director for all things Baltimore.
I'm the cruise director for Baltimore. Oh, I'm going to put that on my card.
I'm trying to help you. I'm trying to do what I can do. We're here at Faidley's. I'm helping the Maryland Lottery. It's all brought to you by our friends at the Maryland Lottery. We have the Magic 8 Ball. I'm going to be giving these away here today. We are going to be at CVP in Towson next Friday the 14th, hopefully celebrating a Towson birth. You wore your gold. That's good. It's not for the Steelers.
This is Live Baltimore's color, actually. Live Baltimore is
it's the
I Love
flag.
City Life. Like the I Love City Life logo is yellow.
Is that sort of like a mustard? What is that?
I
It's
went
not
full
a gold.
yellow. It's like a bright yellow.
It's like a cauliflower.
A little under
I
Big
don't know
Bird.
what to call it.
Yellow.
What would the color be in the Crayola Crayon 64 box?
A maze. Would I be a
maze? You are a maze.
Thank you.
Amazing.
There we go.
There you go. I like that. I am Nestor. We're going to sign off from Faidley's. Come on back here. I have other people to talk to. Viviano was going to be here. He's going to come next week. We're going to be at Pizza John's in Essex on the 21st. We're going to be back here, not on opening day, but 2 days after opening day, because I ain't working on opening day. I mean, especially not without a media credential. We'll be here on Wednesday, April 2nd, when the Red Sox come in. I think Viv's going to come down for that. We'll have some great guests for that as well. I am Nestor. My thanks to Meghan McCorkell for stopping by. Our thanks to the Maryland Lottery. And 2 crab cakes on me next time. We are Baltimore Positive, WNST, Towson, Baltimore. Stay with us. More from Lexington Market right after this.